Held it down through the years, each year more ruthless. Walked the path of solo tears until I seen the movement. Cut it off if it's useless. Do God's will and all that I'm doing. Come together, we be standing bold, and together we'll be cracking the code. So here's my hand, come take a hold, and please know that you gotta just follow your heart. Blaster faster, disaster master the rain. Your path is captured faster than the blood down the drain. Swirling to the tunnel tip until nothing remains. It's a shame, but it's
precious mountain. I'm fighting for my survive. Oh, heaven help me. I think I need a herb. Teachings prevent troubled minds from finding comfort they be seeking.
I second that. Another reason why I call you brother. When I'm ready to snap, you react. Show me another way to handle the situation.
We refuse. Why you slaughter our people? It's time to rise up. We stand diesel against your evil. We refuse to offer our daughters and sons, our fathers and moms.
It starts to fall apart. I know you having trouble. I know that you were stressing. I know that there were times that you were really guessing. But in endurance and lesson, you gotta understand that
y'all raise the roof hard. Let's have a ball. Half of y'all still acting like you ain't with it. It's your life, your strife, and your business. But me and mine, hope is his name. Stomping through the matrix, putting out the flames. Wolf on Tommy Hawk, cutting off these lanes. Coming to a higher up on the flyers. Politics care for politics, like tits care for the next Vic. The rest pick and prick for par you from what's the left list. To be well rid to deal with the unpleasant trip. We almost venture it when the rain falls, trying to make you
Reckless, but check it. Feels like I've been sent with this message for you to accept it. Be humble, end up canceling your blessing. I had to learn from myself and walk the path that he laid.
it's funny they pour liquor when they die, saying rest in peace to aliens, but do they know his name? Everyday life is a struggle. Only
murder must be kill.
you're destroying yourself. You know you need to chill with those murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts.
I'ma kill. Must be murder.
You're better than that. Don't let the world be full of those murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts. Murderous thoughts.
What?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes. Yes.
If you positive, you pregnant.
Yes, I'm like,
You been sleep with them boys?
no.
Touching the forbidden fruit.
I don't want the forbidden fruit no more.
So as y'all can guess, we're here to talk about murderous thoughts. You know what I'm saying? It's a crystal clear track featuring Rope, Azriel rather.
Even though I consider that road track feature crystal clear.
Yeah, but you know, he led the direction on it. You know what I'm saying? About how it's gonna unfold and learn, and the whole marketing thing behind it was like the prequel to it being Streets.
Yep.
So Murderous Thoughts, as he says, we got to give you the pre-warning because it involves some heavy language that's not what we generally promote. You know what I mean? Well, I'll say I come from a background of violence and profanity and vulgarity. You know what I mean? So I was in my element. You know what I mean?
He was right at home.
I was right at home when I was doing that song with Chris. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's gonna be two versions to it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be an explicit version and a sanctified version, I guess you could call it. I don't know.
Yeah, something for the old people to not like, ooh.
Oh my goodness. You know what I'm saying?
Cut it off.
So yeah, I'll let Chris go into like the street movements into the Murderous Thoughts pattern.
Okay. So let's start back in around January. I started hearing I was listening to the movement Monday of like the recap of 2019. So I heard the theme, one of the songs that you put on there
So one of the beats.
Yeah, one of the beats that you used to put up in the videos for background music. And that day, I remember that day. That day, I was having a horrible day at work. So when I heard the beat, I'm sitting there at lunch. I'm hearing the beat. I'm like, yo, this is matching my mood right now.
Right.
So I'm like, what is this called? So that's when I hit you up, and you said it was Murderous Thoughts. And he said it was a song that you wrote before you became a born again Christian, before you switched your whole game up and tried to do more music that glorified the Lord. So he was like, yeah. So when I got saved, I decided to not release it. So then when you told me that, I was like, all right. But I said, I got some news for you, bro. I said we're gonna use that sometime this year, and we're gonna keep the title Murderous Thoughts. So then as the year progressed, we was doing more music with the Lord and trying to do things that glorify God, to try to help people. Throughout the year, I kept watching the news, I kept watching the reports, keep hearing things from other people about the growing violence that's happening in our streets, from black on black crime,
Right.
to
Just
other
a whole
racial,
foolishness.
foolishness, right? So a whole bunch of foolish crimes that was going out there, and then on top of that, then you hear the things with Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. So it's like the violence got so escalated to the point that it's like, if we living in a society where you just say, "Hey, how you doing?" You like, "What?"
Right.
And that's the way.
Talk to me.
You don't, yeah, you know what I mean. And you just, it's just like, it just got to the point that it's like, it was frustrating with me every time I would come home from work and hear about people getting shot and killed in Philadelphia and, parts of Jersey and other parts of the world. And then what really started amping it is when we did We Refuse. And I was seeing a direction where to apply Murderous Thoughts, because before all that started happening, I was already writing the streets, and I was going to have it produced or have a producer ready to go in June, but then they got derailed by We Refuse for the right reasons, because I guess the Lord was showing us that it was not that time to produce the work that He wanted us to show. So being, humble about what God was showing us and what He was showing me through the idea with Murderous Thoughts and Streets, we decided to push the project back and continue on to do the other things that bring people up to code about, we're living in a society where everything's just going up in the uproar. So then while I was on my hiatus for a while because I did time with SWT, and while my brother and Sticky, shout out to both of them, they were doing the work with Bop With Me, Seen the Rain, check those songs out too. They're great. I listened to it the other day.
Seems like the album started out with a lot of encouragement and self-reflection.
Yeah.
And that Bop With Me is like the midway point that gives you that release before we really get into like some dark things.
Yeah, you're right, because like while I was like, I was enjoying the music that we were producing, it just felt like in the background the world was shifting towards violence, and I was at the same time I was getting frustrated with everything I've been hearing on the news. So then what really got my attention was when Philadelphia, they had a stat that said Philadelphia became the second highest murder rate per capita in 2020 next to Chicago. So it's like you practically telling us that, especially as a black man in the inner cities, and particularly in cities like Philadelphia and Chicago, we're most likely to die by gun violence than to make it as old age.
Right.
And
retirement, what's that?
Yeah. And I felt that was wrong. I know you did, because if you didn't, we wouldn't be making music to try to shift people's minds. So that just amped up my frustrations. And when I was writing The Streets, I wrote that in Philadelphia while I was on the corner of Castor. Was it Castor? No, it was the corner it was Castor and like Delaware Ave. I was going through like the Kensington section of the city, and every time I got to a certain point where I was like going through a certain block, God was showing me things to say in the verses of streets, like churches and liquor stores on every corner and stuff. So streets was just like was pretty much like it was a kind of like a wake up call to people that you might want to start reevaluating the world that we headed. So
see this is what I like, because like I said, that Bible with me was like a midpoint.
Yeah.
And then I had the Seen the Rain. Well, no, after that. Well, before that, I think it started really back with what's that song? Lights of the City Rain.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because we was always about helping people, but it seems like we weren't really getting. We was just on the surface starting out with the album.
Yeah.
I think a lot, like the beginning of the album, starts with a lot of our own self problems and how we addressed it,
right,
to move forward. And then that shift came where our focus is on the world. That Light Through the City Rain kind of sparked it.
Yeah.
And then we had Seen the Rain.
Right.
And then it gets real.
Shout out to Stiggy on that too.
And then Streets, Our Murderous Thoughts. You know what I mean? So it's a progression in the mind state of man that has been unfolded. You know what I mean? So I think the album is very representative of the shift from people just doing bad to people doing worse.
Just flat out crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
To like things that you could never fathom.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think the album has been, the Lord has definitely been moving on it and shaped it into what He desires it to be.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? I go with the old saying, like, and I'm not saying like we're evil people, but all things are you know, work toward the glory of the Lord, regardless if it's people who are doing wrong and not. God is going to use it some way to make people understand that we're doing this wrong.
Right.
So like, you know, so when Murderous Thoughts, I kept like for the whole year we was just thinking. I was just thinking about it, like to the point, like if people that don't know me, when I've been given a project or I have an idea, it's kind of almost like an obsession. Like I eat, sleep, you know, drink soda, or, you know, like drive tractor. Like I'm driving for my job, I'll be thinking about it and stuff like that.
I'm like that at work too. Like
it drives me crazy. So like the concept of Murderous Thoughts was, you know, how can we present it to the world to warn them what people are doing is leading them souls into hell and leading them into incarcerations and ruining their lives even before death. But how can we do it but be kind of like PG-13? So like the whole year I was wrecking with my brain with that. So then one day, you know, we was working, so my brother asked me, he was like, so what do you think the idea of Murderous Thoughts should be? So at that time, I was reading about Cain and Abel. So how, you know, anybody reference the Bible, they know about Cain and Abel, but the people who don't read the Bible or don't know, just look up Cain and Abel and they give these references to Genesis, where Abel was a good-spirited and Cain became jealous of because God accepted Abel's gift over his to the point that he murdered his own brother. So when my brother asked me about it, I said, I think it should be a scenario where a person, just like what we've been dealing with in the inner cities, are on the verge of murdering somebody. But the difference is, unlike other people who don't do anything or they just don't know what that person is going through, there should be somebody who will try to stop them from doing that. And that's why I said Cain and Abel. Even though, you know, it didn't represent what the story was in the Bible, but we kind of modernized it.
that thought pattern that
Right.
you could kill your brother
Right.
over something.
Something so petty.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Right.
And I would even dare to say it's like the end result or the flip side of brother's keeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right.
Instead of keeping your brother, you're ready to end his life or whatever.
Right. It's like, and that's why I was like, the way we should capture it, we should be like on the verge of it getting to the point that we're arguing among each other. And, you know, as like, you know, because he, of course, you know, he's Black Luther General. Everybody know him. He was from the streets. He did things in the streets that represented the streets. So like he would know more.
It's my wheelhouse to do that song.
Right. Right. So it's like, so of course you had to be Kane because you knew all the emotions that you had when you used to be on the streets. So it's like, because like me, I only held a, you know, held a gun one time in my life, and that was to protect the house because somebody broke into the backyard.
Right.
But you knew how the emotions you feel when somebody.
It's disgusting. It's disgusting when
Right.
you can't sleep because you smell the gunpowder on your hands.
Right.
Or you know that you know spilled somebody's blood on the streets, and it's very difficult to turn away from that lifestyle unaffected.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
That's why you was the perfect fit for that role as Kane. So, and then of course, you know, everybody always like know me as a voice of reason. So I was like, of course, you know, I have to be the one that's trying to, you know, calm you down to a bad, you know, to try to save your life, because if you know something that's going to happen, that's going to be detrimental to your life and your family and everybody.
right.
So, but my issue was that I was like, we have to make it to the point that people who listen to it, regardless if it's going to be with curse words in it, because I know we try not to use curse words in our song, but we couldn't really tell or illustrate a story about a murder that's about to happen and be like, you know, take your butt home, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't do that.
Right.
I don't know about you, but if you see your brother about to do something stupid, you're not worrying about
cussing,
using,
you know,
the words. So that, but then, like, so when I was writing to me and him was writing to us, so he wrote his verse first, like parts of his verse first, and he's a natural writer. He can write songs in like.
Yeah, I didn't
minutes.
start writing to it till like that week.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I know me. I'm like, okay, it's not difficult for me to write.
Right.
So I don't need to like jump on it now. You know what I mean?
Right, and so and because of that kind of put more pressure on me, because not only I have to write at his speed, because he's like, nah, come on, we gotta get this done. So you got like 15 years to write a song.
Right.
Do this now.
5 years, 3 bars.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So not only I had that pressure of writing the verses, but I had to not only write my part of the verse at a rapid pace, but I also had to compete with what he was saying, because I didn't want like, oh yo, when people hear like, oh yeah, Rook's verse is, you know, Azriel's verse is banging, but this dude is garbage. My mama listened to this thing, and so it's like, you know, a lot of pressure, because I was trying to spread the message that you need to start thinking before you start reacting and causing a very disruptible thing in your life. So I had a lot of problems, like a lot of stress to do that. So I was like, I had to write according to, try to rapid fire just as much as you're rapid firing, but try to bring a point that, you know, to make the listeners understand, like, whoa, like, and actually listen to what they're saying, because, you know, beats are nice, you bop to it, but then the message sometimes get lost because either they can't hear it, or what the person's saying because of bad, you know, engineering, or it's just like, you know, the worst, the rhymes is corny. So it's like, so we had to go aggressive. And I said, we have to get it to the point that we had to make the listeners, after they listen to it or while they're listening to it, like, yo, is this a song, or are they really going that way in the booth?
Right.
So it's like, so.
Yep.
But the main focus was the message. Like and while we was producing, we kept going back and forth, so like, should we clean it up and stuff? we have other people listen to it, and people is like, honest to truth, I know you guys are a Christian-based label, but I think you should leave the curse where it's in there.
Yeah.
And I heard this from multiple people because I was telling them, like, of course I didn't have the audio, but I told them some of the concepts, and they was like, nah, dude, because if that was me, I'd be cursing the screen.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And so you know, I wrecked with it for a while. You know, I say, you know what, Lord, I understand it might throw some people off, you know, fan base wise.
Right.
But at the same time, are we here for fans, or are we here to make people change their lives and not make irrational decisions of killing somebody? So I'm just gonna, you know, leave it up to the Lord, you know. Of course, if we ask for forgiveness after we got done.
I didn't ask for forgiveness because look, what's the purpose of hiding the contents of your heart?
Yeah.
The Lord sees everything that's in your heart.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he already knows I'm not writing this as a means to glamorize violence.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Because you could tell it from how you was writing it too, because see, my brother's one of the best people to work for, because while he was writing, he was setting me up. The way he ended the line or something, it gave me a direction to how to respond. So it was like kind of like, okay, but while you was writing why I should do it, you was leaving me like a good like hint of where to go at how to rebut what you're saying, but then try to like incorporate what the Lord was trying to say to people. And as the song keeps going on, it's like you gotta understand, like it has a really big turn of events during the song. But you have to understand, it's like it shows how desperate that Abel was to try to save his brother.
Right.
But also just bear in mind that if it's not Abel that was telling his brother don't do it, what about your mother's telling you don't do it? You know what I mean? Your brother tell you don't do this. Your sister, your best friend. So like we was trying to capture the voice of reason and how seriously this dramatic thing can occur into your life to the point that you're gonna regret it the moment you pull that trigger because you were angry at somebody because they hurt your feelings or they checked your pride.
Right.
And they said the only thing, somebody said it in the video, shout out to DJ Vlad, because I saw it in his video. They said that only thing the second thing, I think he said around like the second thing that's strong as a mother's love is a man's pride. And that's why like I had to put that pride thing into the verse.
Yeah, pride plays a big role.
It plays a big role. And pride can get you killed. Pride can make you just say, screw this, I'm gonna pull this trigger. Pride can make you just like, go up there and make that rash decision to do things. And that's what I'm seeing in cities, in the metropolitan cities, we hear raising violence. It's pride. The Bible said pride comes before fall. And a lot of you guys out there have pride, too much pride. Even the young boys and the young cats that I talk to when I'm out there in the streets, you can see it in their face. You have to understand that it might be the last straw that you have before your fall comes. So if you got a lot of pride and a lot of things in you that, oh no, I can't be, see
the fall coming.
Right. I can't be checked like that. Oh no, I gotta do something. Just like peer pressure, like you teach your kids peer pressure. Oh, you gonna let him make fun of you like that? Oh no, come on, everybody's doing it. It's all about the pride factor. But pride comes before fall. And if you don't check your pride and humble yourself, and then ask the Lord for forgiveness for what you're about to do, and rebuke that devil from all the hatred and that sinister thoughts that keep injecting in your mind, you're going to fall. And when you fall, 100%, you're going to regret it. And so that's what we had to illustrate in Murder's thoughts. So my whole question was, would it please the fan base? Not necessarily the ones that are ready to hear it, but it has to be done. And it goes to show you, even though we try not to put curse words and stuff in our music, it goes to show you how far we would go to try to interrupt something that's very bad.
Right.
And for that part, I'm not sorry.
Not at all.
And in my day of judgment, when I go home, I'm ready to hear that sentence for what I've done here on this earth. Because in all fairness, like my brother said, the Lord knows what was inside our hearts.
Absolutely.
When we did the song. And that's all I got for Murder's Thoughts.
Yeah, so that's Murder's Thoughts. It got delayed a little bit because
yeah, we had a lot of issues.
A lot of things. It seems like this last 2 weeks I've been going through trial after trial after trial.
Yeah.
So I'm on like trial 6 or 7 right now.
Mm-hmm. So pray for us.
You know what I mean? And like the latest trial doing what we were doing is involved my car. Drunk driver decided he didn't like how my bumper looked.
I guess that's a good way to illustrate.
Yeah. So he knocked the front end of my car off. So now I have no car to get to work, and now it's a financial, mental, and physical burden on me and my wife.
Right.
So, but out of it all, I remember the word forgiveness.
Amen.
And I wrote a post about it. I'm not gonna go too deep in detail, but the gist of it is that the Lord has always had my back, even when I wasn't checking for him. Right. So I know he got me now because I am doing my best to check him out. You know what I mean? And talk and walk the way that he wants me to walk. So I was like, okay, it ain't no big thing. I said, so my train of thought shifts from, man, I ain't got no car, to hopefully this experience would cause that man or young man to evaluate his life and get closer to God.
Absolutely.
The Lord knows I can take the burden. You know what I mean? He won't put nothing on you that you can't bear.
Especially when you've been there before.
Yeah, so my whole thing shifted to, okay, I ain't got no car, I gotta get on the bus again. Maybe that's good because I'm working on Fade to Black and I want to recapture my life in music. And a lot of that times I've been on buses writing lyrics. You know what I mean? So maybe that'll help me get back into some of that old flow of writing rhymes on paper again. And, you know what I mean? So the Lord will work it out how it needs to work it out.
Right. And then, of course, we had audio issues because we recorded it on the Sunday before with plenty of time. And then when we was listening to it, that's like the audio sounds distorted. Yeah.
Crap. So we had to figure out, like, this is the first song that we fully did in the new recording room,
yeah,
booth. So we had to figure those acoustics out and figure out which works best. I think we found our lane.
Yeah.
It's different because now we have to EQ vocals different because it's not like it was with the mic was in the same room.
Yeah, because we had a whole room with air, like it's a lot bigger air with the
more natural sound,
right.
and things don't bounce as much because there's like ways for things to escape through. But in there, everything is like sealed in. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
we figured it out.
Yeah. I mean, in all fairness, it's like, yeah, we like to have it come out on the mischief night, but it comes out at the time where God appoints it.
Right. The Lord's been telling me to put it out on election night.
Really?
He's been telling me to put it out on election night.
Hey.
On the 3rd.
You know what?
So
let it come out on.
I got on the Movement Mondays for the 3rd, so.
Okay.
That's that.
That's cool. So,
Murder's
Thoughts. So yeah, check it out. It's like I said, it might turn some ears away, but you gotta understand the motive of our message, because like my brother said, it all ties in. It gets real. I talked about how things are getting really serious out there in the world as far as what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and with the world, the way that the government is running the country, and then streets was like pretty much how I was seeing things in my own experiences, let you know that like all the stuff that I wrote, I experienced it. So when you hear the words or read the words in the lyric video, I seen this stuff. And then the Murderous Thoughts is kind of like the far end of when things is really going pretty much to hell. So
when you take in all these bad thoughts and manifest it into bad actions. So that's like not only the mentality of streets, but the results of having that kind of mentality.
right.
So that's Murderous Thoughts, man.
That's it, man. So check it out on November 3rd. So check it out and give us feedback, and thank you again for listening. And once again, you're the movie.
It's a wonderful life. It's a wonderful life. Wonderful life. It's a wonderful life. Take a moment to breathe and you see how wonderful God truly can be. And we say
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. So glad we made it this far. So happy that you're near. We say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We love you, Lord, from up above. So happy that you're here. We say Merry Christmas.
Take the time to lend a hand to those who find it hard to stand. Give from the bottom of your heart, make somebody say more grand. Little children, don't forget why this day we ought to have. Why this day we ought to have. Jesus born in Bethlehem, keep on thoughts for him. All sin get turned around, take the pie through the spirit. Sadness no longer found, and stable ground is standing on. The joy of Christmas feeling strong.